Swamp Thing on the DC streaming service has been cancelled.
That was quick.
Yeah, one episode in, they went, you know what? Nah.
There's a lot of mysterious reasons.
It's taxation. It's streaming services.
It's a real murky situation, like
Very
a
good.
swamp.
Like a swamp. So look, let's talk a little bit about this TV series.
Let's do it.
Specifically the first few. And if people could leave a like on this video, this really helps. We'd really appreciate it. Please do. We've been trialing it and it works. Good golly, it does.
Good golly,
Yeah.
Miss Molly, you know it works like the Dickens.
This works very well as a TV series.
It does, doesn't
I
it?
feel.
Yeah.
What
It's
I-
intriguing, and that's
Yeah.
what you want out of a Swamp Thing.
We're going to talk about another thing later that there's no intrigue. It tells a very similar tale, and
Oh,
boy,
yes.
it's just like, ugh. But yeah, you've mentioned this before. He's a barely works character.
I mean, any character can work.
Yeah.
But I feel like he is, from the outside, I would assume that a character who is a horrific monster from the swamp wouldn't
Yeah.
play well necessarily with mainstream audiences.
Sure.
They want a good-looking hero. They don't want a disgusting, slimy monster, do they?
You thought like a warrior was about that he'd just have abs and
Yeah,
he could,
for sure.
He could just transform back and forth at will. And
Well,
whatever.
that I mean, one of the issues apparently maybe with this series and why it was cancelled is because executives wanted a more CW kind of character, like an Arrow or a Flash or a Supergirl, where it's just like they have to shoehorn in a very handsome man with abs
Yes.
into the episode, and then maybe the last 5 minutes he turns into the Swamp Thing every episode, you know?
And the thing is, the lead character from this, Alec Holland, before he becomes Swamp Thing, he's not like CW handsome. He's not ripped. He's not.
He's not handsome.
No, I know, but he's not blonde. Like he's like regular guy handsome.
Sure,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, like us. Just a couple of handsome
Yeah.
regular guys.
Just like us.
Correct. See, I've found your limit there. You're like, he's not super handsome. I'm like, yeah, he's like us. And you're like, no, he's a bit more handsome than that.
You know what surprised me about this as well? The pilot episode was directed by Len Wiseman, who you may know from the Total Recall reboot.
Underworld.
Some of them.
Some of them.
Yeah, that's right.
The good ones?
Yeah, I think
That was a trap. There are no good ones. Fell right into it.
Yeah.
Like a swamp.
Yeah, of course, like his directorial style outside of a weird blue tint is like unrecognizable to me. But I think he does a really good job in this pilot
think this pilot was
episode.
great, yeah.
So yeah, I like the new Alec Holland. I like Abby Arcane, who comes to the swamp to see what's going on with the swamp. They hinted at an interesting backstory. They tell you a lot about it early on, so there's not just like a mystery for many episodes.
This is probably the strength of this series, is that it is a show with horrific goings-on and supernatural things and science gone awry.
Yeah.
But it's surrounding normal people
Yes.
What just happened?
who might have a normal conversation and who won't leave things hanging.
I mean, there's some things in this that are kind of like a bit silly because it is about a swamp thing. First of all, before I get to that though, the body horror though is incredible. There's a moment in a morgue where a guy like splits apart and all the swamp's like climbing out of him.
A
And,
dead guy, specifically,
dead
not
guy.
the morgue attendant.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And it looks amazing and it's spooky and creepy. There's a bit later where they go back into the swamp and there's like a boat in the tree and she's like, how is that even possible? You're in the lab. You saw that dude split apart and all the swamp came out of him, but it's neither here nor there. But the moment where Alec Holland is born, he becomes Swamp Thing.
Oh, yes.
He's trying to figure out what he is and he's tearing out chunks of his own head and that, and it's
But haven't we all done that after a big night out? You know what I mean?
Mate, you ain't bloody wrong.
Who even am I at this point? What's this growth on my head? Oh, wait, it's just a leftover kebab. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And also, he's an anti-hero because he's like a massive murderer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'll tear you in half. There's a moment in episode 2 where he just pulls the limbs off a guy completely using the swamp. I think they've done a really good job of...
I mean, it's more manslaughter then, isn't it?
No,
It's more...
He's controlling the swamp. He knows what he's doing.
Okay.
He controls the green, if you remember the comics.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, look, the future of this is not looking good. It was supposed to be 13, and while they were filming, they went, 10. We'll do 10.
Okay,
They probably
right.
went way over budget for what the streaming service was currently doing numbers-wise or whatever, so it may just disappear. And I'm sure a lot of the budget went into the terrific-looking Swamp Thing suit. The mossicity on it. It's
very-
so
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That finer detail on a suit like that, it's kind of... You don't see stuff like that on television. You don't even
Yeah.
see it in movies.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Movies from 1982.
Oh, is that your segue?
It's fine. We'll come back to it.
Well, I was going to say, like, what I like about this current crop of DC, sort of, Titans, Doom Patrol, etc., is it's kind of a premium television. It's not villain shows up and then they fight for a bit and then it's the end. It's kind of like there's an ongoing narrative
Yeah.
throughout many episodes. It's an epic kind of tale over
Yeah.
an entire season, which is sort of the antithesis of a lot of comic book superhero kind of TV shows,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying that a lot.
Yeah.
And I would like to see these be way more successful so we get more of them.
We're definitely going to get Now and Again at the end. I refer to that because that's the only series that I knew was cancelled and I watched through, the TV series Now and Again.
Yeah, right,
John Goodman gets put into the body of a...
We all know
another
the
guy.
plot of Now and Again.
No. People do not know the plot of Now and Again. Do not presume that.
Right, and if you know the plot of
Yeah.
Now and Again. Is this video going to segue into your sadness over the cancellation of Now and Again? I
No,
feel
they
it's-
should have cancelled it. It wasn't a great show.
But you
it was one
watched
of
it
those
all.
proto, like, superhero shows because we didn't really have anything else in 99 or whatever when it came out.
For sure.
Anyway, the movie is terrible. The movie from 1982. You know what? I should have watched the movie first because watching 2 episodes of the TV series
I knew
and then
it,
leading
yeah.
into this, good Lord, it is brutal. And they tell the same narrative about a man who he falls into a swamp and he gets swamp powers and,
Yep.
and whatever.
I mean, strictly speaking, this man doesn't fall into a swamp. He has a glowing green beaker of something,
Yep.
and he gets pushed over and he drops it and he explodes, and then later he emerges as
I
Swamp
have
Thing.
never seen a man more on fire in anything, though.
That's
Full
true.
credit. That dude is
Yeah.
like 1,000% on fire.
He absolutely is, yeah.
That's really good. That was the 80s, man. You could...
That man being Ray Wise.
Yes.
Who people probably know, he's a kind of a character.
Reaper?
He's he's the devil in Reaper. He's
Yeah.
kind of a famous, that guy. Like
He's famously tan.
Yeah, he's Leon Nash in RoboCop. He's in Twin Peaks. If you don't know him from any of his work, you probably know him as a guy who seemingly gets more handsome as he gets older.
Absolutely.
I think at some point he might reach peak handsome and like collapse in on himself. But
He doesn't pull on the Swamp Thing suit, which appears to be made from rubber gloves, maybe.
no, that's a different guy.
Different guy, yeah.
Who was so this movie is quite serious in tone. There's a sequel, I believe, that came
Yeah,
out a few years
89,
later.
and then
in
a
89.
series,
That's
yeah.
a different guy. But the series went for like 70 episodes.
Yeah.
This is a Wes Craven movie.
Somehow, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not like Wes Craven before he'd done anything interesting.
This was apparently his CV to show movie production houses that he could be an action movie guy.
This is the CV that you'd put in the bin. You wouldn't even look at it. Because, like, the opening shot, it's panning over a swamp.
Wes
right?
Craven, R.I.P.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He's done good work.
I
I'm not
agree.
denying, but this
I
is
agree.
not good.
No, this looks like a not very good fan film
Yes, absolutely
made
does.
in the 90s.
Yeah, agreed.
So not even of now.
Yeah, it's a weird...
There's 2 versions. Did you know that?
Yeah, I do. And we'll
Okay,
get to
right.
that. And there's a jump cut
Yeah.
when they're just looking at the swamp. They're just panning over the swamp, but it's to the same shot. So it's like, did you not film enough continuous footage of the swamp?
Yeah,
You couldn't
right.
have done a fade. But no, it's all jump cuts or weird wipes.
I was gonna
weird
say.
transitions. Like, I think it might be... It's supposed to be a comic book thing. At one point, there's like a curtain that goes up and down.
Yeah.
There's an explosion or a star.
There's a lot of like just wide shots of people like running through marshland in real time.
Yeah,
Just like
absolutely.
splush, 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 splush. And then like the bad guys run after him like splush, 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 splush.
Well, that's
It's
all it
incredible.
is. It's people running around a swamp, being
Yep.
captured and then escaping, and then
Yeah.
fan boating around a swamp and being
Yeah.
captured and escaping.
There's some great individual moments I feel in this.
There's a bit where Swamp Thing flips a boat.
Yep.
That's not bad,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess.
Actually, there's a bit where there's actually a not bad action sequence. You're right, when the guys in the boat sort of attempt to kill Swamp Thing and they sort of hit him with the side of the boat and they flip in the air.
Yeah.
That's actually not bad. There's a bit where
Two boats slowly collide and then inexplicably explode.
Yep. There's a bit where Swamp Thing comes out and I think he rips the roof off a Jeep. I think maybe it looks like it gets taken by the wind and it sort of.
Oh, no, I
sort
do
of-
remember
is
that.
Is it a boat? And it just sort of floats away. There's a moment. So we got Alec Holland. His sidekick of sorts is Alice Cable, as played
Yep.
by Adrienne Barbeau.
By the way, her introduction with her action sequence is incredible. She takes out a bunch of army dudes.
Yeah.
She's grabbing guns. And then for the rest of the movie, she's just screaming and running around
know what
the
it
swamp.
is?
She goes Ripley in like a
Yeah,
second.
immediately.
And then forgets.
Her look is Ripley combined with Weird Al Yankovic. From the back, initially, I saw her and she was all like big curly hair and Hawaiian shirts, and I'm like, is Weird Al Yankovic in this movie? This is going to be incredible. But what I think does it, and there's a bit which you can't really do in movies anymore. She machine guns a bunch of dudes, and then they grab her, and then they need access to like the secret lab kind
Yeah.
of thing, and she won't give it to him, obviously. So one of the army dudes just gives her a straight up karate chop to the shoulder and knocks her down like a sack of
incredible.
potatoes. It
Incredible.
was so good.
The first punch thrown in this movie is that scientist being chased through the swamp, and it's just the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
And then the dude's like, just has a snake on him. There's a snake in his pocket
Yeah, right?
that he pulls out.
He's going to knife the dude, and then he's like, no, the knife's not going to be enough. I better snake this dude, actually.
Also, there's a Mission Impossible mask. One of the head scientists just goes, you know, I'm not who you think I am. Takes off his mask, and he's just some other guy.
That's my favorite.
I'm like, who are either of these two guys?
Because the initial guy, it's like a guy we've seen in maybe 2 scenes. We learned nothing about him, and then he's like, surprise, I'm the villain. And then he needs to be like, yeah, I'm the bad guy that people were talking about earlier, but never seen. That's Louis Jourdan.
Great.
Who was he's been in it was in a Hitchcock movie. He's been a Dracula, I believe.
Oh, good, excellent. Yep.
And he was also in Octopussy. A wide-ranging kind of.
That really is. That's quite a career.
That's quite a career, yeah.
They capture the Swamp Thing. They just throw a net on him. And I know he's got like one arm or whatever, but they just pin him down and they've got him.
Can we go back one? We need to talk about the Swamp Thing costume.
Well, I want to jump forward to how a man turns into a goblin. No, let's go back.
I was gonna say, you know, we spoke about how the incredible mossosity of the modern day, the TV version.
Incredible.
This one looks okay when it's wet, and you can maybe only see like his head
from a distance,
and it's dark.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's just a dude in a rubber suit.
Yeah.
And it's so rubbery, you can see the seams. You can see his real body moving underneath it.
And look, I know it's low budget in the 80s, but good. But just put some more moss on it.
Exactly.
Get a whole bunch of moss men from the He-Man action figure line.
Yeah, put them on a cheese grater, grate the moss off.
Use that,
and then stick it on with some crazy glue. Exactly.
So when Swamp Thing's captured, they realize that the formula that he's made, they want to find out what it does, so they give it to one of the henchmen.
I mean, it explodes, firstly.
Firstly, it explodes, but you can drink it also. The first guy who takes it turns into a little goblin.
Yes, he
does. And they're like, well, it turns you into the person that you are deep down. Mm-hmm. So best case scenario, you're a horrible swamp monster.
Yeah.
And then the villain thinks, yeah, I'll take this and see what happens to me.
Yeah, I'll risk this.
And he turns into a weird pig werewolf man. Why would you chance that? You're the villain in the movie. What are you doing?
Because you become a weird wolf pig man? That's pretty sick, you must admit.
No, it's not. Surely you live a life being a rich, successful businessman. You like the finer things in life with your fancy cutlery and your cognacs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now you're a weird pig werewolf man running through the swamp with a sword. Think about your actions.
One of the worst costumes I've ever seen in a movie. Ever.
Yeah.
This looks like the show that Matthew Holness created for Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, yeah.
If you haven't seen that show, you should watch it. There's only like 6, but it's incredible.
I can't hold these plates off much longer, Liz.
It's intended to be this deliberately, incredibly awful kind of Stephen King-style hospital show, haunted hospital, that everybody involved in the creation of thinks is genius.
Well, this is supposed to be an intentional throwback to like the B monster movies of the 50s, but it's just that. Like, it's not a throwback. It's just one of those crap movies from the 50s in colour. Yeah. That's all it is. There's nothing new or exciting or innovative here. It's a real swamp. Kudos. The man was...
But that's 100% because it's cheaper to do that than make a swamp on a soundstage, am I right?
And there was a man who was 1,000% on fire, and I respect that.
That's true.
That man
but again,
he's dead.
He's definitely
exactly. Dead. They just covered him in kerosene, and he breathed it all in, and he probably died a decade later.
Yeah, see, that's all the things you're enjoying about this are things that they only did because occupational health and safety laws were not as stringent as they are now. Yeah, they're like, hey, we'll give you an extra $50 if you really set yourself on fire, and he's like, let's do this.
Let's do this. Anyway, you had a piece of trivia about the 2 releases.
Oh, so there's 2 versions of this. I think one goes maybe 2 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And that's because it's got nudity in it.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, when they released it on home video, the box claimed that it was the 91-minute edited version.
Yeah.
But in real life, the version that was released to video was the 93-minute version with nudity in it.
And kids watched it.
Kids watched it. They sure did.
Anyway, it's bad. I wouldn't even say watch it as a gag.
It's a brisk 90 minutes.
No.
But it's not, Brad.
No,
that
don't
brisk.
listen to him. It's not.
Okay,
He's
just
saying the
fast
wrong
forward
thing.
to 21 minutes because that's the karate chop to the neck.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. a point to make a note of
You
that.
probably want to see the pig monster, I guess, as well. Anyway, this has been Caravan of Garbage. We do this every Tuesday, but there's also videos here on Sunday and Thursday. If you've got a suggestion for something to look at, it could be a comic book, a TV show, a movie, whatever. We'll take a look.
What if it's 72 episodes of the Swamp Thing TV series? We'll watch every episode.
No, we absolutely will. Look, I tell you what, if Swamp Thing comes back, we'll dabble. Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday. Swing by if you want. We do the news of the week. We do a topic. It all happens there.
You know it.
I do know it. I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
We'll see you guys next time. And
on the videos that James does.
Watch Swamp Thing, but not the other thing.
Grab that gem, you guys. We will see you next week.
The series, I meant. You know what I meant. Watch the TV show.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.